los policías que golpean a la gente, que matan, juntarnos todos y demandar a Julián, porque eso es lo que nosotros debemos de hacer. No estar peleando así, porque ese es el único way que nosotros podemos votar a Julián en la oficina. Si nosotros todo el mundo se junta y vamos allá y demandamos ahí. Y otra cosa, que el día 22 de octubre, por favor, todo el mundo debe de usar negro, para que todo el mundo note que ese día es que para las víctimas y que son sobre la police brutality. Y eso es todo lo que debo de decir, y que todavía voy a seguir peleando justicia, cueste lo que cueste. Gracias.
My name is Loretta Cerbelli, and my son, Kevin Cerbelli, was murdered in the 110th Police Station, 10 officers present, on October 25th, 1998. The autopsy was withheld from me until after the investigation. I was told by the Assistant District Attorney that a bullet ricocheted from his arms and entered his stomach and caused all the damage to him. When the case was closed, I was allowed to have my son's autopsy report. Only then did I find out how much I had been lied to. My son was shot twice in the back. The bullet that eventually took his life entered through the back. He had bullets going upwards, going downwards in many different directions. He had a bruise on his back. He had a black eye. Now, very conveniently, the tape in the police station was not working that night. I was not told the truth by anybody. I am still not allowed to have my son's property. The police refused to give it to me. And for what reason, I do not know why. All I know is that something horrible happened in that police station, and one way or another, the truth, I feel, will have to come out. And someone before spoke about the press. I was a victim of that. One reporter from Newsday called me for the truth, and that was it. Everybody accepted every lie and every piece of garbage they said about my son to destroy him. One reporter asked the truth. My son was found not guilty of arson charges on November 4th, 1996. Kevin was not a criminal. There was not a knife involved. I have a police voucher number for his eyeglasses and a small screwdriver. For his pants with 2 bullet holes in them, and his Nike sneakers. He was not barefoot. And I have a voucher for a medal and his rosary. The lies that were spread throughout the press hurt my family so badly that I would like to know, why isn't there a conscience within the press to seek the truth and not rely upon the lies given to them and by the sensationalism created? I think it's time that the truth is sought after instead of hurting people who are in so much pain and devastated over the horror you read in the papers about your child who was unjustly murdered by the police. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Adolph Giuliani over the right to march on October 22nd.
Leslie and the Guild has been in there, you know, duking it out for us, and they've knocked Giuliani on his butt several times for the October 22nd coalition, as well as in other cases dealing with the right for people to protest. Someone give me Leslie.
I just wanted to say that in my work with the Guild in obtaining permits for the various anti-police brutality events that are taking place around the city, I've had the privilege of working with a number of the people you've heard from today, and I have been in constant awe of the courage, the tenacity, and the strength of the victims of police brutality and their families in getting their message across in the face of what's been insurmountable obstacles that have been placed in their way by Mayor Giuliani and the administration of this city. And I think it's important for all New Yorkers to understand that the mayor will shut down Lower Manhattan for the New York Yankees. But when victims of police brutality and their families want to march in one lane down Broadway, we have to take the mayor and the city to federal court and bring a lawsuit. And we did that last year, and we won, and I'm calling on all of my colleagues in the legal community in New York City to come out and support the victims and their families, and we cannot allow the city administration to continue to silence victims of brutalization by the police. Permit from the police to march. We also have a permit for Washington Square Park, and we have been told that we will have a permit for City Hall Park as well. So yes, it is safe. Union Square Park, I'm sorry. So it is safe for people to come out and demonstrate, and we're encouraging everyone to do so.
And the march will, just want to get some questions about the march. The march will begin where, at what time?
On October 22nd, people will gather in Union Square Park, 4 p.m. Friday, October 22nd, we'll march to City Hall Park, and then at 6 p.m. in City Hall Park, there will be a rally. October 22nd.
I
Take a question.
Of the 2,000 cases that are in the book, how many of them have been judge murders by a court or by a judge or a jury, and how many, in your view, are murders and that they were illegal killings as opposed to justifiable?
Almost none of them have been judge murders in court.
Have any?
There have almost none. There have been cases like here in New York, Anthony Baez's death was judged a crime but not murder. The death of Charles Campbell, which was outside New York City, was judged a crime, but again, the crime was not adjudged to be murder. So in almost, there's virtually no cases across the country of a police officer on duty killing someone and then being charged with and convicted of murder. I would say I was reviewing the 2,000 cases today, and I zeroed in on the 130 plus cases from New York City, and looking over those cases and applying my knowledge, comparing it to police reports, I would say that in at least 1/3 of those cases, the question of whether murder was committed needed to be taken up. In another third to a half, there were clear questions of violation of not only police procedure, but laws that may not have gone to the level of murder. But when you look at it from how many times the court approached it that way, we can begin to count those cases on, our hands, and we don't have to take off our shoes to get to our toes.
So 2/3 of the cases are not murder, even in your view?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh.
I said.
What percentage are murders in your view of the 130?
Okay. I would say that in a clear 2/3 plus, there are clear criminal charges. I am not versed to give you what's the difference between manslaughter and murder.
Yeah, but you use the word murder all the time.
Okay.
But
Because the police commit murder all the time and get away with it.
Does it have any meaning other than
I think shooting Patrick Bailey in the leg and the buttocks and leaving him to bleed gives some meaning to the term murder. I think shooting Anthony Rosario and Hilton Vega in the back 14 and 8 times respectively gives some meaning to the word murder. I mean, you want to get around the edges and contest something, we can do that. But I think the circumstances in which Annabelle Carrasquillo, Frankie Arzuaga, many other of the cases here today, Justin Smith, many other cases, give some meaning to the term murder.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing to that. And again, South Carolina is a place that I'm up on, and some of the stuff that has happened there. And even here in New York, in the famous case of the wolf pack, you take a life. We know it's either going to be accident, it's going to be homicide, but you take someone's life. You don't. If you premeditatively kill someone or you shoot someone and you don't provide medical attention to them and they die, whatever you call it, if you want to call it murder, homicide, or accident, the police force in this country is out of hand, and they're too quick to pull a gun to kill someone. Okay. Too quick. Absolutely, it happens over and over, and they may come up with the excuse that we had psychomotor epileptic syndrome. Eleanor Bumpers being blown to death in her apartment, her hands shoot off and being shot off. You can call it murder, or you can call it an accident, or you can call it justifiable. She is dead.
Murder.
I want to tell you about the case of Toy Jones, a coroner in South Carolina who ruled in a case pretty much like the case of my son, where the coroner didn't find that white people had done anything wrong in killing someone's loved one. And 3 young men went to his house to confront him. It was claimed that one of those young men had a tire iron. Toy Jones died of a heart attack. Those young men are in jail, arrested and convicted for his death, murder. So you can mince meat or whatever. We know that our loved ones are being killed, and they're being killed unjustifiably. And you can call it murder, or you can call it whatever you want. They are equally
They're dead.
dead.
And we can't bring them back. That's the worst part about it. We can't get them back. What difference does it make?
So let's
And
hear
maybe,
you.
and maybe there should be a crime that is even more significant than murder, like the case of Patrick Bailey, where he was tortured, shot to death, and left to bleed to death while there was a hospital 3 minutes away.
3 minutes away.
Or so many of the cases here where people have been beaten and driven around by the police all over, and they're allowed to die. Those police officers should be charged for crimes against humanity.
No, they should be
and
hanged.
and they should be convicted for torture. It is tantamount to genocide, and we must face it. It's wanton, malicious brutality against a powerless population, and that's why they're getting away with it. And one of these days, that these noble people that are gathered in this room get tired and decide to seek retribution, just the same way the United States government found it necessary to seek retribution against the people of Sudan by launching preemptively a cruise missile in their country. Then maybe the lesson will come around, because it seems that this government only understands force, and they have the power to use the force against people, and they will wipe people out. And the media, and young man, your question a lot of time speaks to that arrogance and the continued genocide of a powerless people.
Are you here as part of
Let me
the
take just a simple
47,
question.
then I'll come.
Just a simple question. Last year you had a lot of trouble.
To be an objective journalist, I pretend to be an accurate transmitter of events as they take place without being spinned or filtered by
You're
myself.
acting as a journalist now.
So no, I am here in both capacity as someone talking to you, sir, from the inside of how it feels to have your loved one
Killed.
strangled to death by a man who says, I'm going to break your fucking neck. I am here talking to you as someone who have just, I'm still in the process. When I leave here, I'll be going to physical therapy to recover from the stranglehold that was placed on me by Best Buy Incorporated, the largest electronics store company in the United States. They almost killed me in the same manner they murdered my son. So I can tell you that I am a veteran of the war that has been waged in this country against poor people, and a government that backs and sanctions these killings, and they do nothing to prosecute their own. They do nothing but reward the killers of people in this society. And we will seek justice, and we will bring about justice for our loved ones, no matter how long they have been dead, whether it's been a year, 5 years, 10 years, or 50 years. We will seek justice like Mamie Till Mobley today, after well over 40 years, is still on the campaign for justice for our loved ones who have been murdered by this state that continue to sanction the violence. And this society should be thankful that we continue to ask for redresses of our grievances in a peaceful manner. And I hope, sir, when you get back to your network, that you would have the luxury of running this press conference in its entirety, as I will.
So, you know, as a journalist, we all buy to deadlines, and we have, I just have one question. Did you get the City Hall permit to rally at City Hall yet?
We have not actually got the permit in hand yet.
And when do you plan to get that, or when do you?
Well, I've been planning to get it for the last 3 months. When they plan to give it to me is another issue.
You don't know?
I don't know exactly when. I'm anticipating that it will be any